Well, look, good for Donald Trump for asking it to stop. The problem is it's too little too late, because his own words and conduct over the last 18 months are exactly what people are protesting against. And rather than getting it to stop and send a signal that it should stop, he rewarded this behavior of white supremacism, racism, anti-Semitic behavior by appointing Steve Bannon to the highest appointment you can in the White House. So it doesn't matter whether Steve Bannon's in front of the camera, out front or behind the scenes, he's now in the White House. And what that sends a signal to everybody is that this kind of behavior is acceptable, because the most influential advisor to the president-elect is a guy who practices and promoted white supremacism, anti-Semitic behavior, bigotry, racism, and sexism.
Katie, is that fair about Steve Bannon?
I think there are some serious concerns about Steve Bannon and the way that he operates in his history, but I also find it incredible that the narrative here from the media has changed to this being Donald Trump's responsibility. A lot of these reports about minorities being harassed were actually made up. We have the police investigating some of these reports and the people admitting they made them up. And it's hundreds of thousands of people across the country who are protesting Donald Trump as the president-elect, and people like Michael Moore stoking the flames here. So it's actually up to President Obama to come out again and say, look, police resources should not be used towards rioting. Yes, we have a First Amendment. You have the right to protest. But President-elect Trump was elected duly elected. There was no fraud. This is the way the system works. He was elected fair and square, and he has an obligation to quell the concerns and the protests that are ongoing in our cities across the country.
Yeah. And then you have Harry Reid on Friday on the Senate floor talking about the KKK, saying that they view Trump as their champion. Here's Kellyanne Conway responding to that.
I hope President Obama calls Harry Reid today and says, cut it out. I just met with President-elect Trump. Governor Pence has met with Vice President Biden. Right. The First Ladies have met. I mean, everybody is looking for a peaceful transition here in the name of democracy. And you've got the Senate Minority Leader acting like some garden variety political pundit. That's what's got to stop.
I mean, you also, Marianne, have these instances of a man who had a Trump sticker on his car, I believe, who was pulled out of his car, beaten, and his car was stolen. You have a guy who was wearing a Make America Great hat on a subway in New York City who was choked yesterday. So, on the fringe elements, there's lots of peaceful protests going on as well. On the fringe elements here on both sides, we need to lower the temperature.
Look, Martha, I agree with that part. No one has the right, either in word or deed, to harm anybody in any way. That shouldn't happen. But what Kellyanne Conway did, had we played that clip out a little bit, is she threatened legal action against Harry Reid for speaking words. Every single word he said was true. So that's got to stop, too. So that's what has to change here. You can't threaten legal action against the Senate Minority Leader for stating facts. You can't threaten actions and threaten people and tell them they need to get into line when they are protesting things, and fairly so. So I think it's incumbent on Donald Trump, who set the tone here for the last 18 months with all these words and deeds. You can't put that genie back in the bottle, and that's the problem. And last point here, Katie, Martha, probably you, but certainly me, I think all of us have experienced online what that language is like. And none of us, I don't think, have experienced that until the last year and a half. And that has to change, too.